Previously on the chat room with Ig and Tosin.
I think I always ask myself this question. If every time there's drama, there's a common denominator, and if the common denominator is you, maybe you are the drama or you are the cause of the drama.
Hello everyone and welcome to the chat room with Ig and Tosin. And we're so excited to bring another episode, another chapter today. And we are talking about conflict resolution. So last week we were talking about That's a good one.
I'm ready for the drama.
Where did that come from? Tosin?
I don't know.
And you know, some people, they do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, we're here to resolve the conflict. And yeah. That is so funny. So we're talking about conflict resolution. Last time we were talking about conflict, and today we're going to be talking about how to resolve conflict. We started with, we're talking about soft answer, how people respond to different situations, how people respond to conflict, and do you really have to scream and shout and be malicious, or
pass your point across?
Yes, to pass a point across. Or do you have to, I want to be heard, so I must be heard at all costs, no matter what I do, and there's some people, there's some people that have threatened self-harm just to want to get themselves heard. So that's a way they know how to resolve conflict. I'm going to do this to myself. I'm going to harm myself if you don't listen to me. I'm going to harm myself. And what do you think, Tosin?
I think case by case, like you said, is it for attention, or maybe I'm not excusing their behavior. Maybe from when they were growing up, they were never heard. And they realized that's what, we were discussing it the last time, that some people,
childhood,
the only way attention is placed on them is when they throw a tantrum.
Yes.
Or they threaten to do something to themselves or to other people. Mm-hmm. Then people take them seriously. And since they were not corrected, and they just realized, okay, every time people pander to this behavior, whenever I did this, everybody starts running around in circles. Yes. Or some people relish in it that people walk on when they come in, people walk on eggshells around them. So I feel it's a two-edged sword. Was that the way you were brought up? Maybe you were ignored as a child, and then you just realized the only way to get people's attention was to throw a tantrum. Because I always tell myself, tantrums, people that throw tantrums always have an audience. You don't throw tantrums. God, that's a mouthful. Throw tantrums. Throw tantrums. Yeah. Throw tantrum when nobody is there. Just imagine you're there screaming and shouting and it's just you. Even you will calm yourself down and like, okay, there's something wrong. Yeah. But when there's an audience and people are pandering to the behavior, this behavior was not called out. Because I remember a time I had conflict with somebody, and I wanted to kind of like, okay, tell the person, okay, I'm not a fan of what you did. And somebody just said, don't do that. We have to keep the peace. And I asked, whose peace?
Yeah.
Is it keeping the peace, or we are pandering to this person's behavior? We do not want to call out the person's behavior because we know that person would throw a tantrum. So I think in conflict resolution, I remember this thought that came to me. And I remember I wrote it down. It was very interesting that in conflict resolutions, there are two types of people. Adults have proper conversations. Toddlers throw tantrums. Which one are you?
Well, talking about like having conversations, do you know that some people, they don't listen? Like, it's not just having a conversation, it's also about listening as well. You know, you're listening to the other party, listening to them, because you can be having a conversation and one person is dominant in the conversation. You know, they are having, we talked about words last time, you know, how do you use words? How do you, I mean, these are all, we're not obviously exhausting every way of resolving conflicts, but we're just pointing out a few things, like, how do you have a conversation? Some people can have conversations, quiet conversations, but malicious words are spewing out of their mouth.
Yeah.
Some people can be very quiet.
How quiet or how loud.
How quiet or how loud, you know. I know that, I mean, people are different. I've seen so many people who are married. There's a couple I've seen, and they're loud, right? And once they have a tiff or a disagreement, a conflict, oh, everyone hears about it but just at that moment, they're done. And once they're done with it, yes,
or somebody
else
really is stewing with it. Somebody's stewing on what was said.
They are really done. And that's it. They just carry ahead, go on and, you know, go on with their lives. And I mean, everything is all beautifully, but there's some people that are quiet. They may not say anything, but once they say one or two words, they say are really, they're like darts to the heart, you know. So I think, you know, people are different. You know, you can't put people in a box. You know, some people can, until they like say it out and have this fight and have this, you know, loud conversation or loud quarrel, they can't get everything off their chest.
Yeah, but must it be, like I always ask, like you said, when having the conversation, some people listen to respond.
Yes.
So it's a defensive act. Okay, I'm saying, oh, IG, you did this, but that wasn't
waiting. I'm not even listening to you. I'm just waiting.
You're waiting to respond. You're just listening to pick maybe a word.
Yes, that I can use against you.
And it's this, but that is not what we're talking about, because at the end of the day, okay, let's use family, a family situation. Let's say, okay, even in workplace, you still have to work together.
Yes.
And then when there is just this elephant even though we've resolved the conflict in quote, but there is that elephant if there's an elephant in the room, you've not really resolved the conflict.
No, you haven't.
Because it's just going to be getting bigger and bigger until it suffocates everyone.
Yeah.
And somebody's just going to explode.
What would you say is conflict resolution?
I think conflict resolution is when there's either a compromise or a win-win. It's a win-win, meaning that everybody goes away. We've resolved this thing. There's no animosity. There's no trace of anger or something. But an avoidance mechanism, it's a lose-win. Yeah. You are trying to avoid you are trying to avoid confront. Let me not use confrontation. Maybe having a conversation with this person. Let's resolve this. But you like, okay, I don't like confrontations. I'm just going to it's a lose-win. That person is going to get away with the behavior. You are going to be there festering about what they did.
Yes.
Then when it's now screaming matches, the other person is trying to be the peacekeeper for keep the peace in quote. And the person just, it's a lose-win. But when it's like, okay, like what we say, when we come to an impasse, we agree to disagree. We are not screaming at each other. So it's like, okay, we compromise. But when it's like, okay, this is we're resolving this issue. Let's talk it out. I'm going to say how I feel, and I just want you to listen. Just listen. You might not have meant it that way, but if you can just listen and do not, my point of view, and do not disregard my feeling.
In other people's shoes, really, because that is the time. If you're able to do that, you learn how other people feel. You know, it's that's one of the best ways. You know, if I'm in this person's shoes and someone acts like, I always tell, there's something I always a point I always make to my brothers, and I'm like, if you're having a quarrel with your wife or a disagreement with your wife, and you say this to her, how would you feel if my husband tells me that as my brother? How would you feel?
Which is a good one.
Well, it's a good point, and they're like many times they're like, well, I'm going to really like, and I'm like, so you see, you shouldn't, if you don't want someone to say that to you, you shouldn't say that to someone else. So I think putting yourself in other people's shoes. Now,
I'm waiting for that.
When I just met my husband, I remember the first one of the first disagreements we had was I talk things out right there and then. Like when we have when I have a disagreement with someone, I always want to talk it out, sit down, let's talk. And my husband was, then he just was like, he wouldn't say anything. He just walked away. And I was like, oh my God, this is really,
how dare you?
How dare you walk away and everything. I'm trying to, even I want to resolve this conflict and you're just walking away. And he's like, you know what? Once we both calm down, we'll have a discussion. And over the years, I have learned that. That was the first time we had a disagreement. And I learned that immediately. After that, that's who he is. At the point where I was waiting to say some words. I was waiting to tell him some words. And he's just like, and he didn't give me the opportunity. He didn't give me the chance to do it. That time I was a bit, I want to sit down and have this conversation. But then after that, I learned that once there's a disagreement, both parties, we just calm down. When you calm down, then you come and discuss. Then those words you were planning to say, the peace of my mind I was going to tell him, you find out all that. Some people still keep it though. The way for
but by the time you calm down, I think that's the way I am. By the time you calm down, I think you start seeing things, you start having perspective on things that, okay, maybe he's right, even though you might not want to say he's right. Yeah, maybe he's actually right, or maybe she is actually right. Once you get to that level, I think is being mature. It's like, okay, you know what? I flew off the handle. Looking back, we both calmed down. Emotions have calmed down. We are looking at things logically.
Yes.
That okay. Yes, me spending that much money on a pair of shoes.
I might have overdone it.
We're going to do something else. Maybe that will, but you know that, but it's just by the time you sit down, it can be something minutiae, something, or maybe something huge. But by the time you calm down, and the way the Holy Spirit deals with me, it would just be like sometimes it'd be like, okay, calm down. Another time, be like, fix yourself. Fix your face, fix your attitude, go and apologize.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, okay, just calm down. But sometimes it can be quite stern. No, fix your face. You're going to apologize or you're going to resolve this conflict. Not that you're already there you're already defensive mode. The person is like, now we're trying to resolve conflict. I'm like this.
Even in apology,
I'm not ready to resolve it.
Yes, you're still.
Your body language. My body language is saying, I'm ready for a fight. I'm not ready.
I'm sorry, but your body language is saying, I'm ready for a fight.
Yeah, I'm here for war, not peace. But I'm here to resolve the conflict. You're not there to resolve any conflict. You're just there to buttress your point. But you said this. But if you calm down, just like, you know what? I'm not going to bite off my nose to spite my face. We are one body. If he's a husband and a wife, we are one body at the end of the day. So if there I am punching myself in the face all the time, you're going to get bruised. Yeah. Or if it's even siblings, you think about it, okay. Or friends. You ask yourself, okay, is this friendship? I love my friendship with you so much. I am willing to resolve this issue and not let it fester with you. And I'm not going to be there. If I'm willing to resolve the issue and listen, not to retort back, but just genuinely listen at your point of view.
Yes.
You might not have meant maybe that was not the message I was trying to portray, but that was how it came across.
That's how it came across, because words are quite tricky, because you might not want to, you might say the right thing with the wrong attitude.
Wrong attitude.
Or the person might misinterpret what you have said.
Yeah.
So it's not always all black and white, all clear, and someone can say something and the other person misinterprets. So some people might say some things and you may misconstrue, is that the word?
Yeah.
What they have said, based on your own thinking. We talked about what are you making it mean. Someone might say something and, you may just be like, from your thoughts, your prejudices, your thinking,
Biases.
your biases, you may misinterpret what they have said. And it's not always like that. So things can be black and white all the time. Relationships, and I always say that relationships are the most important thing. You even if you're at work, even if you're where you're working and you're about to leave, you don't have to leave with conflict. Even if you're in a relationship with someone else, you don't have to live with conflict, because this world, you can meet people anywhere and at any time. You may need someone's help, I strongly believe that in everything that you do, take your relationships into consideration. Work relationships, you might be like, I'm going to start up a business, but you might need someone's help some other time.
You will always help.
You always need, no man is an island, they say.
Yeah.
So I think that in everything, when you're always put your relationship, consider your relationships.
And what I just want to say is, don't let things fester. When I say call things out, maybe not maliciously, just
angry.
No, do you understand? I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that. Not that. Do you understand? It's like you say, the tone, the way we
attitude,
your attitude, which is another thing we should talk about.
Yes, attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now this is.
I don't know where I go.
But it is true. It's true.
Because you see, like I remember a friend, she was talking about, I think she had a conflict with somebody. She did not know she had a conflict with that person. So it was like a one-sided conflict. And the person called and was screaming, shouting, and she couldn't even get a word in.
Yeah.
And she just said, I think she just dropped the phone. Like, I can't deal with you right now. You're throwing a tantrum. Where you've calmed down, then we'll discuss like adults.
Yeah.
And I guess even like we said, conflict resolution, you don't have to scream and shout to pass your point across. And there's something I just said, which is actually very valuable. You can be as quiet as a mouse, speaking softly, but what is coming out of your mouth is deadly weapons.
Deadly weapons, yeah.
And words heal. People do not know the power of words.
Power of words.
Words, they are like darts. He said the death and life are in the power of the tongue. It's more than just declaring into your future.
Yes.
What are you saying to others? Especially, let's say you have conflict with, especially husband, even parent to siblings. And you now start insulting the child. You're stupid.
Yes.
You're foolish. Then the child in a few years' time start manifesting that, and you think it's village people. No, it's you. It is true.
Yeah.
So it's just learning to put a guard on your mouth. Even the Bible says, putting a guard on your mouth. Yes. The Holy Spirit is telling you, your angels are there waving the flag. Keep quiet, but no.
We're not listening. No way, we're going to have it out.
Yeah, and then when you've calmed down, the foolishness have left.
Yeah.
You've broken all the plates and are trying to piece everything together. And you're wondering why you say brother offended. It's hard to win. If that's a brother, imagine a spouse, a friend offended. Why? What caused the offense? Was it you that caused the offense? By the time you were about to open your mouth and your angels were literally trying to seal your mouth shut, but you literally opened it and said some things. You are not saying, I did not mean it. So then, why did you say it? So IG, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, we've spoken a lot about this. I mean, in 2 episodes, there's so much more to go into, but we can't really delve into everything. Like I mentioned earlier, these are not only the ways to resolve conflict, there are other ways, but it doesn't have to come with animosity is what we're trying to say. It doesn't have to come with fighting and screaming and shouting. And, we know, I mean, people might be like, oh, you know what, I'm hot-tempered, that's the only way. is it really though? Is it really the only way you can resolve conflict? And also listening to others, using your words wisely, and I think we've said a lot, really. We've said a lot. And I've learned a lot as well, so I've learned a lot. So
what my take home that I've learned is you can be quiet and be saying nasty things. It's only when you scream.
I have seen it. I've seen someone
your
do that.
words wisely. Using your words. That is my take home. Because I always thought, only temper tantrums, you're screaming, shouting, making a scene. But I can be there and talking and just be very, very quiet and malicious. Deadly. It's like using a silencer on a gun.
Exactly. Exactly.
Not a bang bang, but just.
Oh, wow.
It's causing the same thing.
Yes.
The effect is there.
But different way.
The concept is still the same thing. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you have learned a lot. We have learned a lot, definitely. And let us know what you think. How do you resolve conflict? What do you think? What's your takeaway? You still got the attitude even to the end of the show. So is that how you are? Even to the end of the conflict? Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to coming your way next time. And from Tosin?
Please like, share, subscribe, follow, click the links below.
Click the link below.
Otherwise,
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day, wonderful week, wonderful life.
Bye. Next time on the chat room with Ig and Tosin. The habits you formed over the years, they're just choices you make without.
But choices,
thoughts, right?
Yeah, but choices, when you are presented with choices, you make a decision.